Hi, my cuties. Oh my goodness, Steph, you are up early. Hello,
Yeah.
Jackie. Hello, Julia. Hello, my loves. Anyone watching the replay, we miss you. We love you. I know it's early, but I have to drive to Orlando with my boyfriend's family. So we are fitting everything in today. We are excited. I have been so excited to start this mastermind because I know I've spoken to each and every one of you and just like the visions you guys have and just really utilizing this space and just making it a 6-week sprint of just up leveling the fuck out of your brand. Because at the end of the day, the way your brand is perceived, how your audience perceives you, how aesthetic it is, and how it pops out from the crowd, that's the first step of anything. And that's when people see you as an authority. And when they actually get in the room, then they can watch your content and fall in love with you and do the whole things that were like, well, if they could just experience my magic, then they would fucking buy from me. And it's like, well, you got to be someone that has magic from the get-go and be someone just like what I say in dating, where it's like, yes, I hate to say it, but like how we look and how we our energy and how we show up to the room and that type of thing. And I don't necessarily mean like there's a certain aesthetic and a certain size and a certain thing. It is literally an energetic thing that people are like, I need to know you. I need to have a conversation. You guys have met people like that where you're like, I need to have a conversation with whoever that is, or like I'm kind of intimidated by whoever the fuck that is. Like I don't actually know if I want to talk to you yet. And so that what this space is going to be. And so how today is going to work and how this is going to like for the 6 weeks, I'm actually building a program on the back end of this. So you guys are going to get access to that. So you have actual modules and things to walk you through the bold method. And so the first stages that you're going to have is access to school. You're going to get an email after this call giving you access to that, where also you're going to see the replays of this video. But it's going to be walking you through mindset. That's going to be the first ones. It's dripped modules. So it's not going to be the whole thing right away. You're going to get them slowly over time, just so, because I know some of us are like, drive results. I just want to jump there and like do it. And I'm like, no, no, no. There's a reason to all of these things. I get it. We want money right away and we want impact right away. But there's a method to my madness, and I'm going to make you do it. And so you're going to have that. You're also going to have Telegram. That's the mastermind component of this, where you get full access to me. So, well, there's boundaries, but you get access to me, where you're going to have your community support. So you guys use each other. All of you have brilliant minds. It's not just me leading this. Like something I was seeing in my peer masterminds is like everyone's waiting on mommy to answer. And it's like, you guys can all answer. That's what this space is going to be for too. Like if I don't say something that you're like, oh, but by the way, this has been working for me, shout it out. Like you're also leaders. Do your thing. Share your genius. Also collaborations. I've met, you guys know Steph. I've met my best friends through masterminds. Like they may not live near you, but they're on the same path as you. So connect with each other, be each other's biggest hype queens, like on your posts, collaborate on podcasts, do your thing. Like that is how my business took off, is just really networking. And that is currently even how my business takes off, is just being in masterminds and networking with certain people that are at the level of which I want my clients to be at. And so you never know who's in this space. Respect everyone, kindness, just you know the fucking rules. Play nicely in the sandbox, okay? Like that's how this is gonna be. Otherwise, you're gonna get kicked out. What else? Oh, Telegram. So you can ask questions in there. I know some of you guys are in some of my other stuff where I don't answer anyone, like Love Club. Like I don't answer anyone in their questions unless I'm feeling like bored and stuck in a car for hours. You guys have me as your coach in your pocket. So drop your questions, drop your content, drop your, aesthetics, things like that, anything from the homework side of stuff. Like that is your space during my office hours. I will be getting back to you. My office hours are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I sometimes come in on Fridays, but not really. And then Mondays are my CEO days. So that's when I'm in my own business in order to scale it. Uh, but I will be getting back to you guys in those things. And then how to best use these calls. I'm debating, and you guys can let me know, having a question thread in the Telegram where you guys can submit your questions. But I feel like you guys are just gonna be, because it's an intimate group. And so I feel like there's just gonna be rolling questions in there. So I don't really need to make a question thread. But on these calls, but let me know if you guys want to do that, and then I can cover it more in depth on here, or I might just get a gist of that. On these calls, how I see it is eventually I'll shut up and then you guys can come on and talk about your brands. You can share, I'll open up share screen. We can go through your content and stuff and just kind of break it down, whatever it is, just like if it's a VIP coaching session with me, and just kind of go from there. And then on the back end, you'll have the teaching stuff. I'm not going to teach on these calls. I mean, when you ask me questions, obviously I will, but these are going to be for us to deep dive into your brand, what your vision is, how that's going to look. It is going to feel like I am shooting water at your face, and it's going to be a lot. It's 6 weeks. I'm trying to pack something in that I have taken 9 months to build in fucking 6 weeks and trim it down and try. It's not going to have that, like, it could, right? Like, that's the thing with social media and things like that. It could have an overnight quote unquote success, but this is long term. Like, we're constantly going to be long term. This is just the things you need to implement consistently, honestly, for the rest of your life. Like, the things that I do now, it's just I continue to perfect them and play with these things and just rinse and repeat. And the more that I hang out with people that are 7, 8, 9-figure business owners, it's the same fucking thing. They're just getting better at the foundations. And so this is going to be the start of that. And then as we go, like, I'm going to create an academy after this, and there's going to be more tailored content stuff, but this is going to be solely around brand, and things like that. And the rest of it is going to be business stuff, but obviously use the space as you will. I know I talked really fast in that, but I'm trying to get it all in so you guys can have the floor. If I missed anything, I'll riff in Telegram. You're gonna see Cassandra pop in here. I love it when my own team takes my programs, like my masterminds. She's also on my team, so if you have any questions or anything like that, you can reach out to her inside of Telegram and just tag her. I think that's it. How today is gonna go, and what I want you guys to do is, one by one, we'll go in, tell us who you are, where you're from, all the kind of things. Tell me where your brand is at, like, let everyone in the room know, and then talk about where you want to go, and then ask whatever question you have. And said, actually, let's not do questions yet. Let's just go around and kind of give an essence of what each brand is, what stage you're at, what we're looking for, what got you into this. And then from there, we'll jump into questions. So, sound good? My coffee's finally kicking in, so I'm excited. Oh, but I am not wearing a bra, and that was a little bit much. Okay. Who wants to go first? Jackie!
Hello, everybody.
I get to finally see your face. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so it's a little bit dark because it is 6 a.m. here in California. So yes, my name is Jackie. I am a health coach, but I've been wanting to brand myself as like the joyful health coach. So I said it a couple of times on my Instagram. But yes, I'm the joyful health coach. I do help women. I'm really helping women embrace their curves, embrace their bodies, and kind of nourish it so they can be thick, strong, and juicy, thick, strong, and juicy in their lives. And so that's my big brand that I really want to, and my big mission, my big impact that I really want to up level, show it off, and just kind of build more of a bigger community for women to get together.
I love it. So is your focus, do you have community? Do you have like memberships, programs? Like, what is it that you're marketing?
So I do have I have three, well, I want to say two big offers that I have. I have my Thick Baddie Circle, so that's more of a community call. I made it into like more of an office hour style. So like for an hour, you can hop on a call, and if you have any general questions about nutrition, mindset, anything, any struggles you're going through, you can come into the community call, and like you have my time. Um, there's that part. And then the other thing that I really push is my one-on-one coaching. So that's kind of my 4-month coaching package that where we just dive deep into like nutrition and your mindset and behavior changes, and all of that.
Okay, so we got the Thick Baddie Circle and office hour style. Do you meet once a month? Do you meet every week?
It's I had it at twice a month, or I have it at twice a month. Yeah, twice a month, and then it's like every other week. So it's like
Okay,
two
so kind
calls a
of
week
scale.
or a month. Yeah.
That's the weird months where we have 5 weeks. Okay, so we have the Baddie Circle and one-on-one coaching. That is 4 months long.
Yeah.
Dope. And then you market through solely Instagram. Do you run ads? Do you have podcasts?
Just Instagram. I'm very at the basic level of just like using social media right now. I do also have email marketing. Well, but email, I have an email newsletter. I have email, I just don't do the newsletters. I haven't been
Okay.
pushing that as much. I just
Okay.
solely do it through social media.
Okay. So Instagram is your main one.
And Instagram is the main hub. Yeah.
Got it. Got it, got it. Is there anything else that I didn't ask you that I need to ask you?
Um, no, there's a third offer that I have, but I really haven't been like haven't promoted it mostly. I think I just called it it's more of like a mini offer. So the way that I've like built it with my other coach is it's like for women who want to get a taste of like coaching. So it's like six
Yeah.
weeks. I don't like the name. Right now it's called Thick Fit Accelerator. And but it's just every time I think about it, I'm like, it just doesn't feel right yet.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
have it as an offer, is what it is.
If it doesn't feel right, it's gonna be hard as fuck to sell.
Yes,
You
exactly.
have to be wildly in love with the shit you're trying to push out.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna stick with the baddies, thick baddie circle and one-on-one because selling something that you're like, nah, someone told me
Yeah.
it's like, nah, I don't want to buy that then. It's such a
um, yeah, so what's it called? Other than that, I mean I have a few freebies, but that's mostly what I have.
perfect. Love it, love it. Woo, I'm so excited that you're here. I feel like we've been flirting in the DMs for a while, and
Yeah,
now we're like,
yeah, we have.
hey, let's make some magic. I'm excited. Alrighty, who's next, my loves? Banu, Banu. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'll go.
Okay.
If I've learned anything, it's just rip the band-aid off.
Anyway.
Um, so I'm Stephanie. I have a podcast called Broken and Enough, and the way that kind of started was off of basically my own like mental health. So the whole concept of my podcast is talking about our own perspective and kind of really getting people to look inwardly in order to start making changes. I'm super brand new to all of it, to business, to Instagram. Like I know probably more than nothing, but like I feel like I'm at that very baby step. No offers, no nothing, like literally just trying to grow a community because I value community and I think that's really gonna help people. Because I want to get people to the point of, hey, like I'm wanting to change, I'm wanting to do things, I'm wanting to like actually be more for my like based on our own desires. So community is a thing for me. I want to grow that. I want to create that. I'm also interested in doing possibly like some sort of events or like retreat or something like that. Still trying to figure out like what else, like where I really want to go with it, but kind of really just building around community first. Cause being that I have like nothing for the most part, like I'm really just starting from the ground zero and going up. And then I mean, like, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at because I'm just starting out from like nothing. So
Yeah, I'm obsessed that it's nothing because it's a fresh slate. Like
yeah.
working with things like that, like it's easy and valuable. Like I wish I had, not to toot my own freaking, I'm moving around because my boyfriend is like, can I come in so I can go through? So let me move this way so he can get in his room because I kind of took over his office. Okay, you can come in. Um, but I love it because not to toot my own horn, but I wish I had someone like this. Like I worked with a lot of energy coaches when I first began, when I moved back from America to build this online business. And a lot of people are like, let me get my energy behind everything, which is really fucking important. Don't get me wrong. That's why we're starting with mindset, but there's strategy. Like I love funnels and strategies and systems and all the kind of things. Like I nerd the fuck out on this. And I wish someone had that. So you're in the right place. Like I know it feels like, oh, I'm a newbie. It's like, no, you're fresh. Like anyone that's in the midst of a pivot, like they're in the same position you are. Right? I had 6 figures and I pivoted. It's the same fucking position as someone starting from where you're at, and you get to collapse time. And I'm really excited about that, especially because the community focus, that means we get to bring you forward as that person of like, you are my future BFF. Like this is how we build community. There's that personal side, not just talking at your community, but with your community. Yeah, come on. And so like playing with this types of things. So I'm really excited to build this out and all the things, especially because welcome to the podcast world. It's the most extraordinary thing on the planet. It's my favorite thing that I have. And really does collapse time. And you guys are going to hear me talk about this with all of you. Getting long form content and podcasting is one of the most extraordinary things that you'll have. That's how I've gotten majority of my clients once I started to promote that, because people will find me on Instagram. Well, now they're finding my podcast, but it used to be they would find my Instagram, they would go and listen to my podcast, and they would collapse time in getting to know me from 4 weeks to 4 hours and then pay me 10 grand because they're like, oh my God, I know you. And I'm like, I just met you. What's up? Like, it's that type of thing. And so any type of long form content, I know we're in the social media world, but long form content is the way to go. Plus, it collapses time with your brand and you get more comfortable with your authentic voice and things like that. So you're in the right space. And now it's just taking that and putting it into what is easy, which is social media. It sounds hard, like social media, all the algorithm and numbers and stuff, but like it really isn't. Like my boyfriend learned it like that. Like people learn it like that. Like it's one of those things where it's like it takes off quickly once you just kind of get the hang of it. You are going to bang your head against a wall in the beginning, but after that, we already talked about that. I was like, you're going to bang your head against a wall. You're going to hate me a little bit sometimes because I'm going to make you go deeper than what you want to go. And it's okay. It's okay. You're going to come out the other side and it's going to be extraordinary. We'll all survive. I can hold the anger. It's fine. So very excited. And also celebrating the fact of like, I think it's the dopest thing when someone like in your position jumps into an offer like this, because it's not cheap. And to be able to be like, fuck it, I believe in myself. Like that's the type of people I love fucking working with because it doesn't matter where like your income. It matters your tenacity. It matters how much you believe in your vision. It matters like everyone can learn from that where it's like, hey, I mean, that's how I was. It was like I had no business and I jumped into a $60,000 offer. And I was like, I could have bought a house with that, but like here the fuck I am. Like I have no idea. I'm gonna work my ass off in order to figure it out. Like that type of thing, because it's that energy. And then I'm in a room full of fucking 7-figure business owners. And I'm like, I made $5 yesterday. It's something like that. But it grew me really quick. So like it's extraordinary what you're doing. And I'm really, really proud of you and excited that you're
Thank you.
here.
Thank you.
Of course, you're both in California. Welcome to 6 a.m. Club, guys.
Right? I was like, she's gonna kill me, but I'm doing it.
Don't worry, they're not all going to be at this time. It's just we have activities to do today. We're trying to fit it all in. My love, Julia.
Hi, I'm Julia. I am living in Boston and I'm also fresh and new, literally just started at the beginning of the month to kind of just like build out my content. So I am a health and fitness coach trying to just create a very simple, straightforward, like kind of like a blunt, but not going to use that word like on social media, like way for people to just live a healthy, active lifestyle. I've been on my own health and fitness journey and have tried so many different diets in this. And now I've been working with a coach who's made it like super straight and narrow for me. But I even want to make it more simple because like I do like count macros and like will bulk and this, but it's like I just want people to live a healthy, active lifestyle and understand the importance of like nutritious food and getting movement for like the long game. There's like this other fitness coach that I like love his knowledge and he like is like it's for the long game, it's consistency. So like that's the message that I also want to reiterate to my like Instagram. So I mainly just do Instagram right now. I have been posting a little bit and so like that's my main focus right now is to kind of just post more content to then create that brand. And I love like the shades of blue. I like want it to be like confident and bold, but like obviously aesthetically pleasing to then create that like draw to my feed. I have been doing like a little bit of just like recording voice notes on my phone to kind of just get comfortable with speaking because like the podcast is super exciting because I honestly love that content of yours. And even when I go and like look at your boyfriends, I'm like, this is so cool. Like I could totally like I like think about last night, I literally fell asleep and then I woke up and I was literally up from 11:30 to 1:30 just like thinking ideas. It was terrible, but I was like, I was like, I could put a chair right there and get a camera and a microphone, and then I could just record myself. So like that's like a thought that was like my last night thought of like, I could just create a video on my phone. I don't need a fancy camera or a fancy microphone right now type of thing. Like I just want to start and then I just like clip them out how you like clip out yours and then put like a cover photo on it or whatever it's called to then, because I feel like your voice, like that's how you meet someone. Like you don't meet someone like, yes, you can like read the caption, but it's like, it's only so you get to only know someone so much through like a caption where like when you hear their voice and like you can feel their energy more and you're like, oh, I totally want to work with her type of thing.
Yeah. And you guys are going to hear me talk about this because video is the only way to sell because nowadays we have ChatGPT, we have all this AI. Information is not the thing people pay for proximity to power, and that's something that they can only feel through video. And that's something that, yes, putting things up, like my podcast is still, I just got a camera last week. My podcast has been my phone the entire time. That is just, you can set it up, you put it on Riverside, you click 4K, and I sit on my couch and I said hello, and that's all I do. And my microphone, I honestly got it as a present, but I found one on Amazon prior to that. Like it's not something that needs to be this extravagant thing. Russell Brunson, who, I'm a huge ClickFunnels girl, I love funnels. You guys will hear this at later dates. His entire billion-dollar company, ClickFunnels, if you don't know what it is, he ran all of his podcasts through voice noting on his phone. That's all he did. Every day, he would just drive to work and he was voice noting in his thing, and then his team would upload it to Anchor or whatever the fuck it is. And that's how he did his podcast. Like, we overcomplicate it because we see people like me that now has the setup and does the thing and can do the stuff. And it's like, trust me, it ain't that fancy. Like, it really ain't that fancy. I'm in my living room with the phone on a microphone, and then I use AI to cut everything up. Like, it's just getting started in that thing, but you guys are going to hear me talk about video, because that's the way people feel you. And you're going to hear me when we get into authentic authority. That's what people buy, right? People don't buy information anymore. They buy, you get me, you have a life that I have, right? Like, me and Steph jammed out because we're both Libras. Like, it's that type of thing where, like, that has nothing to do with my brand, but it's like, you get me, like, these types of things. It's like that type of energy, or parts of my story, or certain types of things, or the way that I speak. Like, that's what gets people involved. So you're going to hear me when we get into authentic authority stuff, talk more about that. But I'm really excited that you're here. I'm really excited. I'm just like blown away by this room, because it's just like, you guys are taking leaps, like being able to do that and put your little cute little tushies in the arena. And just, especially with someone like my brand is not for the quote unquote weak. Like, the way that I speak and the way that I do, you guys know it's going to be hard work. Like, I don't fucking hide away from that shit. And so anyone that does jump into my containers, I'm like, y'all, bless your cotton socks. Like, you guys are in it, because this isn't something where it's like, oh, this is sweet. I'm like, I'm going to beat you into oblivion so that you actually get the results. And you guys are like, yes, I'm in. Like, you guys are down. Like, I think that's the coolest thing. So I'm really, really excited. I wrote everyone's brands down and things like that. I'm going to get the other girls as well, just so I have this as we go. And this is probably going to evolve and change as you guys get more information and hear other things from other people. But we're going to build on top of these things. So whoever wants to go first, whatever questions you have, the floor is yours. The way that I'm going to ask you to do this is sitting here and saying something that you're learning recently, something that's working well for you, and then what you need help with. So whoever wants to unmute themselves and go first, I will put that in the chat for you.
I just wanted to add a few more things too, because like
Sure.
Julia was talking about it, just branding wise too. I feel like the thing that I've really connected with is kind of the California vibes and
Sure.
like the sunshininess. Because that's one thing that I've like honed in on, what I've been told. Like, I have a lot of sunshine in it, I have a lot of brightness in me, charismatic and all of that. So I kind of really lean on that, of like sun, beach. My colors are kind of like in the orange pinkish. I lean towards the orange pinkish, and then put pops of other colors like maybe blue or green, but those are kind of the two main colors that I like kind of switch with.
Fine.
And then so something new that I'm learning. What is something new that I'm learning right now? Mostly like hooks with reels, of just like that it's not just anymore like just being plain with like, oh, here are 3 tips for you and all of that. It has to be very, in a sense, like bold. But when I say bold, it has to be something where it's just like very specific to people. And so that's what I've been trying like to hone in on, like how can I get more specific with the reels, like make it something like it pinpoints a specific person, not just like a group, or like just in general. It's like, how do I go more specific? What was the second thing? I forgot. It's something.
I put it in the chat because I also don't remember. Something that's working well for you.
Something that's working well for me. I mean, the one thing that's always been working well for me is that when I do show up and like explain things on my story, like my stories is really like a really good source for me, because I get a lot of engagement. I've been getting a lot more engagement now. So when it's just like I talk about, I was doing a little mini cut, and people have been like tuning into that and like asking questions and all of that. So that's been working well. The one thing I do really need help on is just like, and I'm really excited about this, is kind of like the market research, because I have the idea of like what women I want to help with, but every time I try to make content, that's just, and trying to get specific, it's just like, okay, well, who's the specific woman that I want to talk about? And it's just like honing in on that. And I know you're going to push me into this, and it's going to be really frustrating because I've been banging my head against the wall for the past 2 years of being like, okay, everybody's telling me market research, everybody's telling me like work with a specific woman, but I'm like, she's still very vague in my head and very vague when I talk about her in my content. So I really want to like get help in like, okay, well, if you're talking about market research, like, okay, well, what are specific questions? Like, how can I find my person? It feels like everybody's like so easy to find their specific person, and I see it on their content, but I'm like, okay, if you're thick and fit, or like if you're thick, if you want to get thick and juicy, like I'm here for that. But what does that mean? And like, I want to just like dive deeper into that.
Let's freaking go. This is going to be the thing you bang your head against the wall about every client. I wish Elizabeth was on this call right now because she's like, I'm dying. Every time I'm like, we're going to get more specific. We're going to go through this elevator process. I'm going to walk you through all of this, but let's break it down right now where it's like, okay, so you have thick and juicy. Tell me more. Who is this person? Age-wise,
Uh,
what did she do? How's she spending her time on the weekends? What's going on?
So I honestly wanted to target a little bit more of my Latinas, to like have more women in kind of in that scope, because I can relate to that. Like that's who I am. I'm a thick Latina, and I want to work with more thick Latinas too. Um, but yeah, that in my sense, but like in my head, it's also like, how do you kind of see yourself, or how do you define yourself as thick? Like, and that's always been a question for me too, is like I've always asked people, because it doesn't matter like what size you are, it's like not the
Mhm.
sizing, but in my head it's just like it's the way that the energy behind it. Like there's so many women from different sizes that call themselves thick, and so I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, if you want to embrace being a thick woman, whatever that means to you, like embracing your and then that's what it, in my head has been meaning. It's like embracing your curves. Thick means embracing your curves.
Mhm.
So it's just like women who want to do that a little bit more is what it is. And so these are women who, again, it's just like, it's like we don't fit the idea of like being like skinny or anything like
Mhm.
that. And it's just kind of leaning into, you can embrace your body, you can have curves, but you can also still feel good in your body, and take care of your body in the same time, with nutrition, with movement, but it's all about how can we change your mindset, how can we work with behavior changes so that we can get you there to just feel good in your body is what it is.
Mhm. And so what is the main pain point of thick Latina women? What is that like thing where it's like, is it familial stuff? Is it relational stuff? Is it, what's that pain?
Um, the main point, the pain point. It's when you mean like familiar, like when,
Like
yeah, what do you
projections of
mean?
family. Cause like so for clients I've worked with when I had my gut health business, the thing was in a lot of in Asian culture, it was the fucking nitpicking from their like grandmother. Like the shit, like
Oh,
people pointing out their body at every family thing, or pointing out how much food that they ate, or pointing out all these things. Like it was these negative comments and then comparing them to their cousins or things at the table. So there was this thing where it was just like, motherfucker, like there wasn't a confidence to stand up for self, but it was because it's in Asian culture very common to comment on your fucking body. Like it's just a part where it's just like, this is a thing where we're just going to do it this way. And so is it like that? Is it, I know for when I worked in body confidence and when I did my metabolic stuff, it was the whole not feeling confident in the bedroom. I still work on this inside of Alchemy of Love with a lot of my clients where it's like they don't feel safe in the bedroom. They don't feel confident with their partner. Like it's like, let me turn off all the lights and then crawl under covers and then we can get intimate. Like that type of thing versus like egg bag, bye, like walking in and like rocking it, like that type of energy. Hi, Cassandra. Doing that kind of thing. So is it some type of, what is that actual pain? And it's going to be varied, but like when you have to know their deep pain, because then we're going to switch it and speak to the desire, but you can't know the true desire if you don't know the deep pain of your client.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think this is the other part where I'm just like, I don't really know the pain point. The one pain point that I've talked about myself is when I was in college, and this is the story I've shared, is like when I was in college, like I didn't take a lot of pictures because I felt very insecure in my body. Like I was taking pictures of other people, or like I would just like do my face, but it was never whole body. It was never something where I was like I wanted to be in front of it. And if I was being in front of it, it was more of like a humor thing instead of like, no, this is me. I want you to take a picture of me,
Yeah.
is what it is. And so that's where kind of like over time, just working on me, working on my like just taking care of myself and my body and becoming more connected to my body, I've been able to be like, no, I want to have pictures of me. I want to take as many pictures as I can. I want to take as many videos. I don't want to be shy. I don't want to put people in front of the camera before me because I want to hide my body, is what it is.
Yeah. So I think this will also come down to getting more specific about the thick Latina that you're working with, right? So is it a coach? Is it a business owner? Is it a real estate agent? Is it a mom? Is it, this type of thing? Because then like how I would position this is I work with entrepreneurs. They're the easiest people to work with because then I don't have to convince them about coaching. So I'm just like, you guys get this. And so when I'm talking about that, when I was talking about metabolic issues and things like that, I would then position myself saying like, feeling confident to be on camera. Like I can stand here and be like, "What?" But like, or like to be on stages leading a whole movement and not actually fidget with your clothes or not feeling insecure about your body and needing to cover things up. Because how many times have you been in the position where you're not even thinking of the person interviewing you because you're too caught up on what they're looking at you about? I talk about this in dating too, where I'm like, you can't even sit across from the person that you're at because you're fidgeting with your clothes because you're so concerned that they're looking at your body that you aren't even present on that date. And so you don't even know what's going on because you're so fidgety and you can't be present with them. And so again, it's you're going to want to look at this where it's like you can't know the specific desire to speak in that thing if you don't know exactly who the fuck it is, what they do for their career. Like, and this is going to be a really hard point for all of you guys. I literally was just talking with Cassandra about this yesterday, where it's just like sitting here going, who are they? What do they do for a job? And a lot of us don't want to narrow this down because we're like, but it's everyone. It's every thick Latino. Like, I just want to help everyone. And it's like, the reason you're not helping anyone is because you're trying to help everyone, right? Like I was a dating coach. I am a dating coach, right? Through and through. Specifically, I do trauma and somatic attachment therapy. We're sitting here talking about branding. What the fuck? Like, it's one of those types of things. And all of my VIP clients, when I was doing dating, when I was specifically launching dating, they were all married. I'm not married. I don't talk about marriage, but because I was specifically talking about certain things when it came to dating, married women were like, wait, that's happening in my marriage. And I'm more risk of losing my marriage. So I'm going to invest big money in order to save this. So I was very specific. And we think the reason I'm saying this is we think it's going to crowd out all these people. Like, I should just talk about love and I will help everyone. And it's like, no, because I was specifically talking to this one person, the right people found me and they were willing to invest big money and they've been with me for this whole journey. Like they're just never leaving. They love it so much. Like it's that type of thing. So we really want to specify down, who is that? What does she do for work? That's going to make your content so much easier because then you can sit there and then you're going to hear me talk about this, your 5 content pillars, but it's going to be catered to that. I'm just going to go with, I'm going to go with coach because that's something I know. That thick Latina coach, she's sitting there going, well, I struggle showing up confidently on camera and that's impacting my business because I know I need to. And I'm not talking with the authority that I know that I can. I'm struggling to, find a man. Like I'm playing in my mind that I'm intimidating and things like that. But I know when I'm on a date, I can't actually like feel comfortable in my body. And I just want to feel empowered for the skin that I have. I know my family, they're already projecting onto me about my business and stuff like that. But, they're also nitpicking me about my body and I just can't fucking do this anymore. And I just want to feel more empowered in my business and my things. Like it's looking at that specific person. Right? Like, who is it? And it might not be coach. It might not be whatever. I recommend everyone work with entrepreneurs. You don't have to convince them about coaching. It's the best thing in world, easiest sell. And it's just making sure like, oh, like see how specific I got with that. It's like, there's my 5 pillars. I can talk about family. I can talk about relationship. I can talk about confidence. Like I can talk about whatever you want your 5 pillars to be, but it's catered to that specific person because I know the pain of what that feels like, you know? And they intertwine. Exactly.
Okay.
So work on that.
Um,
You're gonna see like who that is. And trust me, you're gonna refine this throughout your entire career. This is gonna be the thing that like every offer, and like for us, like for me, like I work with entrepreneurs that are scaling. Like that's my thing. But I also specifically work with entrepreneurs that are like bold, that I don't have to fucking protect my language around so I don't get sued. Like I just, those are specific things, like bold people that are like in their power, things of that nature. Specifically what type of coaches, it doesn't fucking matter, like, but it's coaches. And then for each program, I can specifically do things like with Alchemy of Love, that I'm talking about alpha women that run their business and their coaches, but then they're struggling with this in their dating life. And then I have alpha women that are struggling with this and da 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 da, because coaches are alpha women. So it's just like that overarching thing. And so really looking at for, and you're going to have 2 different pillars in this when it comes to thick baddie circle and your one-on-one. Those are 2 different markets, but your page is going to be catered to the high ticket, high client. So everything's going to be around, you know, specifically whoever she is, and then catering to that. Does that help a little bit more?
yeah, I think this is, I mean, this is the part that I've always been stuck at. And I've been trying to grow from here. And so, yeah, I'm just gonna have to dive into it a little bit more.
Yeah, and we're gonna refine it and refine it and refine it and play with it. But I think everyone can benefit from this conversation because this is gonna be the thing we're constantly talking about. Because the thing I constantly talk with my mentor about. It just happens. But I love it. And if you do you have any other questions or anything?
Yeah, just because you were saying that about like you were specifically somehow you were still targeting like married women, but like when you started finding that out, like you would just started putting more content about that, like just
No, I
targeting
didn't
them?
change my content. I didn't change any
Okay.
of my content because it was working. So I
Okay.
didn't, oh, let me talk about married women. They're gonna be like, you're not fucking married. I, you're not, at the
Yeah,
time, I didn't
yeah.
even have a boyfriend. Like, or, you know, all this stuff. Like, no, I kept my content the same. The only time when I started to change my content is what you guys see now when I talked about branding, because my DMs were constantly flooded with my branding stuff that I was like, oh, and I always knew I wanted to talk about branding, but I didn't yet have the income to do it. Like how I built my business is I did pre-housewife era and I did alchemy of love. And then on the back end, I was using the methods that I'm teaching throughout this academy and in here and things like that, and taking note of what I was working. Because I heard this at a conference about how Russell Brunson, he's like, half the time I run ClickFunnels, and then the other half of the time I use ClickFunnels to run the rest of my businesses. And I was like, wait, I can do that. And so I started to run Alchemy of Love while on the back end building out branding stuff. And then enough people had asked me about branding that I was like, fuck it, let's go. Like run it. And I had a story one day that I was like doing a bundle of like all my dating programs and all my stuff. And then I was like, and by the way, I'm gonna open up 3 spots for branding just to fucking see. And all of them got taken within like 5 hours. And I was like, okay, so you guys want this. Got it. Like, let's go. Like, and kind of
Yeah.
running it that way. But I still haven't changed my dating marketing. Like that to me, like I'm gonna keep that even when I get married. I'm gonna keep that because that works. And so it's just kind of, and especially because you're still dating your partner and things like that. So just because you get hot leads on certain things, you figure out the pain points. Like the thing that I found out is my married clients and my single clients and my dating clients and my divorce clients, all the pain point was the same. It was self-worth. And so we just kind of worked around that.
Okay. Um, okay. I'll throw it into Telegram, just what
Yeah.
I'm working with, but yeah, we'll just go
Yeah.
from there.
I loved that. Did everyone benefit from that? Yeah, cool. Who's next? Jonah?
I can go.
Hi.
So I've been practicing like writing content, which has been like really fun, and I feel like it's like kind of like easy. So that's like kind of the thing that's like been going well, and like kind of posting more, even just like talking on my stories now. It's like kind of fun to do. But I don't want to be like too annoying. I don't know if that's like possible if like to talk on my story too much.
Never. Never. No.
Okay.
It's a mindset thing. And especially if you're going throughout the day, a lot of people are like, oh, for the algorithm, post one time and lump it all together. Fuck that. What you want someone as soon as they come on their phone every single time, it's abrupt. It's abrupt. You just opened the door. I was channeling. No, I'm still on a call. Okay. But you want someone as soon as they come on your stories, like you're there. So I like to do it in the morning at 9 a.m. I have not been doing this right as my boyfriend's parents are in town. So don't watch me right now. Watch me in a week. I do it at 9 a.m. I do it at like noonish. I do it at like 3-ish. And then I'll do it again at 9 because that's when people are on their phones mostly. And so my story is people that are watching me, it's always there with the little ring around it versus like a lump sum of like, oh, I watched it once and then she's not there the rest of the day. It's like, no, I want to be annoying. I'm going to annoy your ass. I'm going to tell you about my freaking things and what I'm doing and all my things just to keep me top of mind. Do my views go down? Of course, because I'm being annoying. But the people that need to see me, they search you to, what are you doing? Like when I don't show up, people are like, where have you been? What are you doing? What's going on? And I'm like, I'm napping, go away. Like you can never be annoying. You can't.
That's good. And then there's like, I want to like share more of like my fitness journey, like kind of like be like super open about it. Like start with like, this is where like what my weight is right now. Here are like my first photos and literally like bring it through. Like I have so much confidence in like myself right now that like if someone was like, oh my God, you weigh like 195 pounds, I'd be like, and I look damn fucking good. Like I literally don't care. So like I have so much muscle that like I literally don't care. Like, and I used to weigh like 270. So it's like, no, I know the difference. So like I've been on this like long journey. So like I'm at the point where I know like if I was like to show that, because this is like what this like other fitness guy does, he like will go on and like literally go on the scale every day. And he's like, look, my scale is going to go up because last night I ate a cookie and this is normal, to like really show people kind of like the fluctuation, but like you're so like, I'm going to be eating in a deficit. So it's like, I'm still going to see the results. So I feel like if I might start on Monday because I'm getting back into like the work routine. So I'm going to be like more disciplined with my eating and like my habits and my routine. So like even like on Monday, I think I'm just going to do it. Just going to start like, this is where I am. I'm going to bring you on this journey. Cause I feel like I am trying to get like more engagement. Like I do have engagement and people like will heart my stories or heart eyes my stories, but it's not like, tell me more like type of things or like, oh, can you help me with this? But I feel like if I show them like the real deal process, then they'll be like, oh, she knows what she's doing, or she's like trying it out. Like, let me try it out too.
I
So
love
that's
it.
kind of like my what I hope to do, or it's what I'm going to do. And then I hope it's gonna like work well to help me get that more engagement that I'm wanting. And then just like something I like help with, it's just like creating the content. Like make it look pretty. I know that's like so like broad and simple, but like I'm gonna go to the gym after this call and I'm like gonna create a video like pushing a sled and like another like random video to then like put like the words
text.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's fuck around and find out. Like it's that type of thing to find out what works for you. Like me, I've been experimenting. I've been trying to do my cool CapCut things, which works really well with stories and then putting them on my feed. It kills my fucking feed. Like it was like I went on something yesterday and it was like 160 views. I was like, excuse me, ma'am, I have 16,000 followers. What the fuck do you mean? Okay, CapCut doesn't work. Got it. Cool. Which I also know, like, I went to a conference and then went to dinner with Dan Fletchner, whatever the fuck his name is. He like runs all these digital media companies. And he was talking about this. He's like, the videos, like just standard video does way better than your professional things, which I've seen. My numbers started to go down when I started to use more professional videos, but my bank account went up, so I don't really give a fuck. But but it's one of those things where like as you're growing your account, I do recommend just using iPhone, making sure it's not in 4K, it's 180 whatever with 30 whatever the fuck. It's just you'll upload it, it's fine. Your phone will do it itself. But those types of videos do way better than like how mine are professional videos. I can eat it because my brand is already grown and people know, like, and trust me. And so I'm experimenting with that side of stuff. Plus, that's just my brand. My brand is bougie as fuck. And I'm just like, that works. But in beginning stage growth, the reason I like went viral and did all the fucking shit and got millions of views and blah, 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 all the things people want is because it was just people took videos of me on a boat and I put text on it and it got millions of views. And I was like, dumb that took me no time at all, and these ones that took me all the time, like it's that type of thing and playing with it. And something that I love is bringing people on the journey, especially early stage. This is what you want to do. So just like with pre-housewife era, right? I just brought you guys along on my dating journey, like to 2 degrees. Like I kept a lot to myself, but I started to document this journey, just like with what I told you about with my branding stuff. I was documenting what I was doing because that I knew eventually I was going to create these programs. I knew eventually I was going to be using this and teaching people, and now scaling the businesses that I've scaled and done the things that I've done. And so just kind of looking at this journey, people want to be, this is why YouTube is so popular right now. People love, like if you go search YouTube, it's all a day in a fucking life. Everyone wants to be involved in everyone's fucking lives and be pulled out of their own. So I went and I studied this stuff because I was like, why are people obsessed with reality TV? Why are people obsessed with day in a life videos or what I eat in a day or things of that nature? And I started to study those consumers and study also, what is it that gets people hooked? How is that storyline going? And I'm like, oh, people don't like being in their own lives. They like to have something to aspire to be within. How do I make my life look like a tasteful reality TV show? How do I bring people? And you guys have heard me say this, my page is y'all's vision board. That's my brand, right? Like I bring the stuff in, I add a little sprinkle of like my drama and stuff, but like I bring you guys along. You guys know my boyfriend's family's here. You guys know like certain things. You guys know I was doing the event. You guys know certain things. Like I let you in on the story of my life as it pertains to my ideal client. And so as you're telling these stories and bringing people along on this journey, it's also celebrating you, right? Like how the shit that goes, I think we had like 30K views on the one that I just was like, I was almost homeless less than a year ago. And now I'm sitting here running a sold out event, having these masterminds, doing these things, blah, 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 blah. Like people love those little clips. Or like when I did my video of, my friends thought this was wild. Like my video of like me when I was in health coaching and I had like long blonde hair and like this, you guys know which one I'm talking about, where it's like that. And then it goes, "Twah," and then it's like me in a black outfit with short jet black hair and like this type of thing. My friend's like, who are you? What the hell is that? But it's like a quick little snapshot. People go wild for transformation stuff. So sharing that type of journey and just where you went without being a sob story of like a lot of people can get very poetic and you're sitting there being like, I don't think you're actually out of that yet. But when it's actually like, holy shit, this is where I am. Like when you tell me you were 270 pounds and now you're 195 and you, girl, that should be posted at least once a week, like at least once a week from the rooftops, that this is what you're doing, and sharing that journey and bringing people along and being like, oh my God, look at my body. Like it's fucking prize, like being that type of energy around it, because it also will give you that confidence that I know we talked about, where it's like, holy shit, I am who I say I am. Like that is going to be extraordinary. So pull people into that, and then how to create content around that. Video, text, video, text. And just it's gonna look like a toddler at first, and just accept that. And then you're gonna figure it out, and you're gonna figure it out, and you're gonna figure it out, and you're gonna figure out what kind of text you like. You're gonna figure out what kind of videos you like. You're gonna figure out these kind of things. I recommend no filters. It doesn't go well. And then just making sure that the text is legible. So like whether it's you, like how I do, I put the outline around mine, and you can just click that little text button and it plays with all the different types of fonts that you can play with, or putting like the white background or the black background on it so it's very clear. And as Jackie said, like making sure there's like a solid hook in it. So we can play with that as well.
Right. And I think like sharing that, because like whenever I would even post like when I was in grad school, like those transformations, like there was a point like I would get like 1,000 likes on my photos when I was like doing, like they like loved it. And I think it would be good for my inner child, because there's sometimes like that I go out and it's like I don't realize like how rocking my body is or like how beautiful I am, but like I know, and I can tell myself, and I can like go look in my mirror over there and be like, oh my God, you're beautiful. But I don't think like my younger self has like accepted it yet, or like has really like come to like reality with me. So it's like, I think if I do keep sharing that, I don't care if I'm annoying. I'm getting to that point where like, I don't give a flying fuck. Like I'm going to post it. If I get 2 likes, I'm going to move on with my life. It's like, that's like where it feels good. So I think even like
celebrate that little
on my feed or like on my stories type of thing.
Yeah. Both. Like it's literally like I recommend one, you guys are going to hear me say this, you need to learn to post at least once a day. Like if you can't handle that, you cannot handle a business because that is the least of your fucking problems. It is like getting that out there, doing it, collapsing time. It's going to take you a lot of time at first and then getting that out there. And so as you go on this journey, it's going to be you posting once a week about your story. Like you guys hear me talk about, I was broke a year ago. I was heartbroken a year ago. I was hit by a car a year ago. Like I just kind of toss these things around. You're gonna see me start to pull in my actual story. I feel like I've had quite a distance from like the actual trauma I've been through in my life. And every time I know Cassandra has had this where she's like heard my story and she's like, Laura, what? Can you please bring this more? Like that's more of the story. So you're gonna hear me bring more of that stuff in. But you guys, you find your story that resonates with your audience, which is your body transformation journey, and you're just ripping it. Like it's just that thing because people see themselves in that. If it's possible for you, it's possible for me. And then it's like, oh, I feel this and I do that. And you're just growing that. And so it's gonna be extraordinary. So once a week, I would say just like sharing that and pulling that in. Good. Yeah. Stephanie.
It's me.
It's you.
Okay, so I also like that Julia pointed out her colors. I'm like, oh yeah, I actually kind of know my colors. I'm super like my heart is just drawn to like the blacks, the grays, the whites with the pop of color. I thought it used to be wanted to be like purple and orange, but that didn't resonate. Like I couldn't get that to look well, so it's just purple. But I also want to make sure that I'm like I have a calling to speak to both men and women. So it's making sure that it's, which I have no idea how to do, and I'm going to figure it out and we're going to learn, is how to make sure that still resonates with both like men and women. But that's something that I'm super called to, is like I want to make sure that I'm still speaking to both, because I think that there is a disconnect with being able to talk about like whatever our the emotions are and things like that are for both men and women. Like yes, it's more common with women, but men are like not okay to talk about that. Like it's still like a hush hush like taboo thing, and it's like can we all just talk about it, because nobody's perfect, and as soon as we like figure that out, then we can all just start growing and doing the things instead of hiding behind the shield of, oh well, I can't talk about it. And because that also affects relationships, communication, like your desires and all those things. So like for me, I think it's still super important, and I have people that are in my circle that I'm like, well, I'm a female and I don't know how to help you except for share my story. So like I want to bring in that male like perspective of like, hey, you know, that guy to come on, or those men to come on and saying, hey, here's my struggles, here's what I'm doing, here's what's helping, and things like that. So I feel super called to that. But yeah, I feel like my colors, which is, this makes sense, my favorite color is purple, and I don't always use it. Like not everything in my life is purple. Like I'm very like careful with how I use purple, but like I just started playing one day and I was like, yep, okay, cool, we're just gonna do purple. So like mine is like that darker look but with a pop of purple. That's what I want to go for. I don't yet know how to do that exactly, other than like my cover photo for my podcast is the only thing that it actually has that right now. So like what, based on your questions, what I've learned recently is from our conversation the other day, I was like, I'm really liking the communication thing that we talked about, like making that like my focal point, because that does resonate with what I'm doing. Like it's a conversation piece of what we're telling ourselves that make us feel like broken, not enough. The conversation piece that we're using towards other people that are hindering our relationships with our family, our friends. The fact that we're not communicating well, either to our within our work setting, our entrepreneurs or our CEOs or whatever. Like I think I want to speak from the CEO part, like the boss part, to the employee, not the employee to the boss. But I think it could actually go both ways. But it's like that lack of communication, like you're not getting that performance from your employees because you're not communicating in a way. But communication isn't just talking, it's listening, and how we're listening. Like it's funny because I just had a situation in my own household like the other day where I'm like, cool, I'm not being heard. But also too, like because the person's waiting to like interject and all that stuff, and it's just about them, and I'm like, cool, it's a one-sided conversation. So if that's what it's going to be, I'm going to sit here and just let you talk, because you're not actually interested in what I need to say or what I want to say or about my day or whatever. It's just a one-sided thing, you know? So the relationship only goes so far, and I feel like I can't have that desired relationship with those people because it's only one-sided, you know what I mean? So like I feel like communication is a huge thing in a lot of what we want, because we're not talking about it, or the way we're talking about it, or the way that we're interacting with our family, with our friends, with our spouses, we're having these internal mindsets that we start telling ourselves because we're not being clear, we're not doing certain things within communication. So like once you and I talked about the other day, I was like thinking about it and I was like, yeah, like this
Yeah, it's a huge
super
thing.
resonates. Yeah, it super resonates for me. And I see a lot of it. And like we talked about the other day, is like I can sit in a room and start looking, go, oh, that's miscommunication. That's miscommunication. That's why someone feels this way. That's why someone is not happy about this. That's why they don't have this. It's like, so I feel very called to that right now. And just like kind of pinpointing that, like, holy crap, like that's huge. And that I believe that plays into like what I'm doing, because my whole thing is about perspective. Perspective is communication, what we're telling ourselves and how we're using that story that we tell ourselves to now look at life. If I believe something, then I'm going to look at something in a certain way. But if I believe something different, now I can look at it differently. So it's opening that brain to be like, oh, well, how is someone else communicating to themselves? Let me try it on. And maybe that's going to actually get me to like up level my situation or change or look at it differently and do something differently.
Do you see that intertwined into your current content now, or is this where you're going to start taking the podcast?
I do see that it's there. I don't know. That's where, okay. So this is where I do need help with, is learning the whole, like, an understanding.
Jackie, I literally looked at this. Sorry. Jackie,
You're good.
it says device P9, da-da-da. I go, who the fuck? Got you. Switching your phone. I will let you in. Just like, who is that? Okay, continue.
But like, so me understanding what like storytelling is versus talking at somebody, like, I feel like I get the concept, but I don't actually fully understand it enough to like to do it, to
Mhm.
make sure that I'm actually doing it within my content, to make sure I'm actually doing it within my podcast. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I don't know. Like again, I think I get the concept, but I don't actually understand it enough to know for sure, like, yes, this is what I'm doing. Okay, this is how I need to switch my words. This is how I need to X, Y, and Z to make sure that I'm doing.
Where is
Yeah.
my outline? I'm gonna send you how I started to learn storytelling.
Okay, perfect.
So I followed this. This is how I do my podcast script. Now it's just kind of internalized. And so when I'm telling anything, the backstory gets people hooked. So you start with the story that is relevant to the lesson. So something that I really like doing, like if you've ever watched Stephen Furtick's I don't know if you guys are faith-based or not. I am. So when I watch his sermons, he is extraordinary at storytelling. So he will, before he drops the name of the sermon or anything, he hooks you into a story that is relevant to that sermon. That's how I tell my stories. I never just jump in and be like, here's the lesson for today, and here's what we are going to do. That's very teacher-based. I start with the story of something that I've gone through or I'm going through, and then I start to go into, and I was recognizing this, and da-da-da-da-da, and then I'm talking about the external results that is happening, but then also that internal feeling that I'm having that gets people to be like, oh, she really gets it. It's not just like, oh, and then I wasn't making money. It's like, no, then I started to feel inadequate and I started to be challenged, and then I couldn't be in a relationship because what if they found out I was in debt, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, it's that internal struggle and then the wall that I'm up against and things like that. And so just kind of walking through the script and practicing and practicing and practicing. And this is why I use this when I went live every day for 365 days, because I wanted to get better at this. And so something to challenge yourself on is, how can you get better at storytelling? Tell more stories. Figure out how many times can you go live on your Instagram? Can you, so people can get used to your voice? Can you start to use this? Are you posting a podcast at least once a week so you can get used to using this? It's getting in the arena and using this type of script. You guys can save this. I can also, if you want me to, drop it inside a Telegram so you have it.
Please.
It's Russell Brunson's formula from his Click. If you guys didn't know, I'm obsessed with ClickFunnels, and just using this kind of thing because it works. And so the more that you can practice this, you can start to just engage with, something that I did. I took a program from one of my mentors, La Navitar. When I can't say it, it's a French word. She's French. And it was just practicing telling different stories. So you would tell, I don't know, some childhood story, but you would elevate different parts of the story to invoke different types of emotions. And so it's just playing with that, like listening to audiobooks, and you can hear how they tell stories. And, as you're watching something on YouTube, hear how they're telling stories, and just start to consume more stories for a little bit. Don't overconsume yourself, but start to see how people are telling stories. You can go binge my content all I do is tell stories. That's how I speak. It's part of my human design, but it's just how I speak is through telling stories, just like I'm doing right now, and getting you guys into that so that you can actually learn the lesson, because it's invoking an emotion that then lands the message. And so just where can you start to go on this journey of like watching more YouTubes, watching more movies? I used to like, that was my thing. I watched the same movies over and over again so I can get the different type of story. And also ADD, I like to know the outcome, and things like that, but just really looking at this script and just play with it.
Okay. Yeah, that's me super helpful. And then my second thing that I know that I need help with, and I know I mentioned it before, but I'll re-mention it, is just like that, figuring out that connection between like what visual picture to put on like as a cover photo for stuff for like social media. Cause again, I didn't know it was a thing until obviously I met you and I was like, oh, okay. But like
Yeah.
really connecting like and understanding like, hey, like what type of picture and things like that. And of course also too, I have to figure out like how to make that picture if it's not quite the right, I don't want to say hue, but like color scheme. Like I know there's a way to pick the right picture, but to take that picture and like make that picture actually like fall within my color scheme, if that question makes sense.
Yeah, so I'm going to show you how to do that inside of a training, because teaching you how to do that right now isn't going to be
Yeah.
the best thing. But if you want to start looking at photos, look, like I said on the other thing, look at the photos that what do you want your vision board to look like, and start to pull those ones. You can go on unsplash.com. They have free ones. You can get on Canva. They have free ones, and just kind of pull those aesthetically from there. And then I will have a training showing you how I use Canva, things of that nature. So you can start to put the graphics together, so that your feed does look aesthetically pleasing and things like that. Good.
Perfect. Yeah.
But for now, it's just, I think the thing that I want to get you on is just being consistent. Where's my phone? Being consistent and posting at least like 3 to 5 times a day, or 3 to 5 times a week, y'all. But realistically, every day. Like
Yeah.
if I can do it and I have multiple legs of my business plus all the things that I have, y'all can do it. Like Cassandra, she takes care of my podcast one. I'm not gonna lie, she does all of that because I cannot run 2 accounts, but I do my feed, I do all that kind of stuff. So definitely recommend, like, can we up the ante on that just to get that consistency going? And then we can start to build the flow and build the thing, but don't let like the photos and the stuff be the thing that teeters you guys off.
Yeah.
Good.
I agree.
All right, my loves, I want to take a photo really quick, and then I'm getting scolded that we have to leave. So I will see you guys in Telegram for my 2-hour drive to Orlando. But if you have any questions, drop that stuff in there. But I do want to take a photo really quick. 1, 2. I'm so excited. Y'all, can you please go celebrate that we are about to go on the most extraordinary, like even just this conversation. Can we just like take a moment for a second? Like this conversation was extraordinary for the first conversation, and it's only going to get better and all these kind of things. Keep a lookout. I'm going to do this in the car, but I'm going to send you guys links to school where you're going to get the replay of this. Our gorgeous Cassandra here is going to upload it. And then you guys are going to see 2 videos that are in there. There's going to be more. Don't worry, they're going to come. I'm going to give you that whole back end of the program that I am building out. You guys get the first come, first serve. If you don't love it, let me know so I can make it better before I market to the community. And then I'm literally getting yelled at. See you guys in Telegram. I'm so excited. I love you guys so much. It's going to be extraordinary. Bye.